Morning guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, and Zumi, who's got a big smile on her face, tail's up high. I like her attitude. She's starting to get balanced a little bit as far as our pattern and routine is concerned. And each thing we put on her is going to cause her to revert back to a normal states of mind that have been there before. So we've got to basically recondition the animal's way of thinking and emotional states of mind in different places. That's what you're up to. So right now she says, I'm a happy girl. Good girl, Zoom Zoom. And I put a small pinch on her, and I've got her doubled up to the dominant dog collar, which is basically kind of like a choke chain, but it's cord. It's not a chain, it's a parachute cord. Good girl. Zoomy, with me. With me. Let's go. Good girl. Good. There you go. Good girl. All right. Come on, babies. I had a friend come up. Came up to my Saturday class on the weekend and spotted these. They're basically a wild and indigenous. I thought it was somebody farming maybe mini watermelons out here. And it's not. These are Mojave melons of some sort. I forgot the name that he gave me. But they're indigenous to this area, and he says they're not that good of an edible. But they are kind of like a small mini watermelon. They're indigenous to the high desert out here. It says we've got about 5 or 6 of these out here on this little field. It's kind of cool to see them. I'd leave them alone. If I was to grade the property and get it all tractored and get it all taken care of, I'd have it torn up. But at this point, we're just going to let them go and let Mother Nature be its beautiful self out here in the high desert. Huh? Zoom Zoom. Huh? Yeah, good girl, Zoomy. Good girl, Zoom Zoom. Yeah, that's my girl. That's my girl. Slowly but surely we build our bond and relationship based on just like this. The walk is real important. You see Caesar doing it all the time with his whole pack, and he accents it a lot within his program, but there's a lot of truth in it. And when I was with Caesar recently did a little video, and he put it on Facebook, and he barely mentioned my name, but he says, I was a trainer that kept him going back in the day, and I did a lot to try to motivate him, and he didn't speak much English at the time. And he wanted what he wanted. He wanted to go towards Hollywood, that's for sure. He's always talking about getting together with Oprah. He wanted to reach the Hollywood stars. And I look back and I see what he was doing when he'd take 24, 16, 20 dogs in the back of a little small Astro van, and then all pile out in these locations up in the Hollywood Hills or wherever the money was at. And I didn't realize it back then what he was doing. He was trying to get attention, And all those people with money in those areas would be walking, and that was their neighborhood. They'd go out and walk in the hills and feel safe in their areas. And we'd get out with our 16, 20 dogs all piling out. He'd put those little loop leashes on the dogs and take off walking down the trail. He was obviously noticed, he would get noticed right away with that. And I never thought about it until he started to get some clientele from it. Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, he would come they would come into town. They have, several houses. And so they would have they let him get him Rottweilers. They had 4 of them that were theirs, that they paid him for, and then he took care of when they left town. And then it was kind of like doggy daycare. He got the best of everything. We traveled all over the place, exercise, food. Fulfilling the dog's psychological needs was his whole emphasis within his program. But it was more of a doggy walk type situation. That's where he came from. Originally was being a dog walker. You kind of think of Caesar being the original, one of the original dog walkers anyway. Come on, good girl, good. And so that being the case, that kind of built his whole thing. And my whole thing was being a dog trainer was observing that pack and seeing what he was doing and riding around. He couldn't understand that. To me, it was the best educational petri dish I could find. It was so awesome to see that whole pack and him have his philosophy of balanced, and the pack being the one that basically balances the dogs, and it works. The dog feels the most comfortable in their own realm of dog communication and all that. But he's never been one, Caesar, never been one to do heel, sit down, stand, actually functional obedience like I would do. So I would always do that with my dog. I had a dog that he had gotten me from another breeder. Actually, there was 2 of them, Thunder and Lightning. And Thunder was my dog, and Lightning wasn't with us for too long. He ended up being a big lesson for Caesar in regards to energy. And you hear Caesar always talking about that big word, and I used to always kind of not argue. We'd have heavy, deep conversations about it. And the word energy was, to me, too large. It was too nebulous, right? What does that energy mean? How can you communicate? Well, now that he's had a show for so long, he's got a lot of this stuff that's kind of become integral within people's thought process of how they think of their dogs because of Caesar's show, which is fine. It's educational. It's what we used to always talk about, educating the owner, the human factor you hear me talking about all the time. That's why he came up with that saying of, I don't educate the dog, I educate the owner, right? The human factor. I was always talking to him about that, and he turned it into something that he could go after with a show, right? Remember that Caesar's show was all about Hollywood, meaning very smart people, writers, a lot of different animal people that were very professional, and they helped him put that whole thing together. Caesar's still Caesar, don't get me wrong. The show's been modeled after him, but that's the key, is having those smart people in Hollywood be able to do your digital magic and actually produce a show. All right. Good dog, good. And I begrudge him nothing. A lot of people would be vindictive and say, I did this, I did that. No, Caesar did it for himself. It was nobody that created Caesar than Caesar. It's his personality and his whole character that carries that show. So I'll never have any animosity against Caesar. I never have. I always told him that too, It's always been something that I've been, instead of getting a chip on your shoulder and woo, it's not something that's my nature, More power to him, and I'm glad I could help him. I used to always tell him, they put their pants on just like you, one leg at a time. They all have to wipe their ass just like you do. They're just humans. And making him lose that fear of meeting these people and making him realize they're human just like anybody else, right? So that was my big push to him, because I knew what he wanted. He wanted Hollywood, so I just tried to give him confidence in that regards. And yeah, I think it helped, and it kind of pointed him in the right direction. He got lucky. He was at the right place at the right time. And National Geographic was about ready to go under, and they needed somebody to save their network. So they wrapped it all around Caesar. So that's pretty good. All right, good girl. You ready? You ready? Good girl. We took our walk and went right back here to the bowl. She remembers this. Look, she's on the bowl. All right, I'm going to start working her. Give her a good session, and then I'll do another couple sessions today. Tomorrow we go out in public, baby, for the first time. I'm going to put your muzzle on you, and we're going to go out in public. I'll let that nose heal up well enough. Yeah, I get some more Neosporin on that thing this morning. Yeah, good girl. All right, Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training up in the high desert, yakking about dogs in the industry and a little bit of my life. I had a guy tell me the other day, yeah, I've had 6 people tell me they worked with Caesar, like, in other words, belittling my storytelling in regards to that. But there's not very many people that actually lived with him for a couple years and actually was that tight with him and rode everywhere, So it is what it is. Thank you much. You guys have a good day. Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training, and Zumi. That's already learning to get on the bowl. Yay. We're going to work her real quick. Get it off camera, because I only have my one-arm bandit. I don't have my tripod out here this morning. Talk to you later. Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training, and Zumi out in the high desert. Have a good day, guys.